Welcome back everyone to the latest episode of RRM, your paboritong Marias, Tres Marias, Super Marios, the best political marites in the town. Of course, today we have with us again, aka marami yan, Edu Manzanas. May bago na ako, Jonathan Morales, kasi ang hirap niyang kasama. Pinapahamak niya ako parang ginawa ni Jonathan Morales kay Bato. Of course, 0.6% Senate movement, future ex-Senator Secretary Ronald Llamas. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. At siya ang pinakamaga kanina. Kung kailan lahat kami muntik mamatay sa traffic, siya pa yung maaga. Salamat, Sir Ronald, for joining us. At of course, kasama din natin dito ang vlogger extraordinaire. Hindi siya self-proclaimed na vlogger like me, pero siya talagang legit na legit yan. And one of the persons, if not the person, behind this whole podcast universe I've entered over the years. So I'm very thankful for teaming up with this person. The Manila LGU expert in the town, Attorney Mark Gamboa. Thank you for joining us, bro.
Hello. Tunay na vlogger yan.
Yeah, yun.
Ikaw nagpapanggap ka lang.
Ako, self-proclaimed.
Tapos yung iba naman, mga fans mo, binabanatan ka na hindi ka daw political analyst, vlogger ka lang daw. So ano ba talaga?
Ang tawag dyan, embarrassment of riches. Yan, like, okay, now, just to show na legit tayo, anyone can be a vlogger, amazing people, wonderful people, but not everyone can get great people in the house. At of course, isa sa mga pinaka-proudest elements sa akin is since naging vlogger ako, marami akong napapatawa. Kahapon dun sa isang podcast episode ko, kasama namin ulit si Admiral Ong. Parang ako lang nagpatawa sa kanya in 40 years yata. May managsabi, but the other one. At nag-usap kami ni Lord De Vera kahapon, kanino siya nagsasmile more? With me or with you? At of course, kasama po natin ngayon si Justice Anthony Carpio. Thank you very much, Justice.
Thank you, Richard, for having me.
Pleasure. Justice, medyo podcaster tayo kung pwede kayo lumapit. Yes. Parang ako na stage fright, na starstruck ako kasi parang sa Zoom lang tayo, na joke lang. Parang tayong kasama nagsasawan. No, Justice, thank you so much for joining us. Obviously, maraming nangyari sa West Philippine Sea, yung sa Escoda, sa Binashol. We can have conversation soon also about a little bit of Alisco and China. But I want to first start closer to home. Before Naval, let's talk about UP Law. Of course, one of the greatest professors of UP Law's history, I'm being a bit sarcastic, is Harry Roque, who is now on the Manhunt. Justice Carpio, is that the correct way of putting it? Tama ba yung sinabi ng newspaper na may manhunt for Harry Roque? See, I told you. This is what happened.
Bakit ikaw pwede ka magkaroon, ako hindi?
Oo nga.
Sir, mag-usap tayo.
Pwede ako magagaganon, hindi ako politically correct.
Hindi na may sagot niya. Ronald, learn. This is how we do it. Justice, go ahead.
Well, first of all, sabi niya he's not a fugitive.
Yes.
Right.
Pero technically he's not a fugitive because there is no warrant of arrest.
Right.
But if you are ordered to appear before the Senate, the police will still take you in, will still get hold of you to enforce that order, no? So it's a technicality lang. But you will still be brought physically to the Senate even against your will. So parang arrest na rin yun. And you will be detained in the Senate, no? Until the Senate hearing is over. So technicality lang yun. I mean, pero ang effect is pareho. Dudukutin siya.
So Sir Ronald, na magsalita.
Napanood ko kasi, Justice, yung kanyang Facebook post na medyo mahaba. No? Marami siyang squid tactics na naman na kinagamit doon. Pero yung isa niyang binanggit ay hindi pwedeng hingiin sa kanya ng Congress yung mga papeles niya, SALN, bank accounts, etc., which may incriminate him. Yun ang sinasabi niya, no? Siyempre, yung mga walang alam sa ganun ay hindi alam kung sinasabi ba niya ay totoo o hindi, no? Pero basically, kine-question niya yung role ng Congress para hingiin yung mga documents na yon na naging basis ng kanyang contempt at naging basis ng kanyang pagtago at naging basis ng pagbuo ng PNP at saka NBI ng team para siya ay hulihin. No? So dikit-dikit yung kanyang kaya ang ginawa niya daw ay nagsampa siya ng kaso sa Supreme Court para sabihan meron siyang ini-invoke na mga jurisprudence yung kay Lopa, yung panahon ni Cory, na nag-decision daw yung Supreme Court tungkol dun sa limits ng contempt or powers ng Congress. Very limited naman ang alam ko dyan dahil hindi naman ako lawyer.
Ronald, parang kung hindi siya nandito, very confident ka. Ngayon, na may justice. Ayaw biglang, hindi ako expert, wala akong sinasabi.
Unlike to dati, no?
Pag tayo medyo confident ka sa legal analysis.
Pero alam ko, justice, very expansive ang role ng Congress, yung kanyang legislative inquiry powers. Supreme Court lang ang pwedeng magdikta kung ano ba yung limits niya.
Yeah.
Pero parang si Harry Roque, siya yung nagsasabi kung ano yung limits.
Well, ang basic basic decision ng Supreme Court, you have to appear before the Senate, before the committee, before whether House or the Senate, and you cannot invoke self-incrimination until the question is asked, and the answer will call for incriminating.
Doon mo pwedeng invoke.
Yeah.
Oh.
You can invoke it only because speculative baka hindi tanungin yung question na yun So you have really to appear. So you cannot hide. Yun ang mali ni no? You have to appear, and it's when the question is asked which incriminates you, that's when you say I will not answer.
I right to self-incrimination.
Ngayon wala pa siyang ma-invoke Second, yung sabi niya na he will not submit his SALN. Well, he already committed to submit his SALN. No? He promised that. Now, if he does not submit, the Senate can, or the House can always subpoena it from the Ombudsman, kasi everybody files with the Ombudsman.
Yes.
No? And that's exactly what happened in the impeachment of CJ Rene Corona at the time.
Yes.
Makukuha yun if the House or House Committee will subpoena it. Ibibigay yun. No?
Ano yung sinasabi niya na sinampa niya sa Supreme Court? Kaso para siya ay hindi para sabihin na walang right yung Congress na siya ay i-contempt or ipahanap. Ano yun? Hindi ko masyadong maunawaan yung
Well, I haven't read the petition, but as I said, basic na you have to appear, and only when the incriminating question is asked can you say I will not answer. Kasi,
but you cannot say it's incriminating to begin with some category. Diba? Parang ganun yung naman niya.
Ang problema yan, pag sinabi mo incriminating, baka there's something to incriminate the question. Yan ang problema noon. Kaya katulad na sinabi mo na ayaw niya i-submit yung SALN niya.
At saka bank documents, etc. No?
Ito, tanong ko, Justice. Kasi ang nilalabas niya sa media, ang kanyang reklamo, hinaing ni Tatay Harry, ay masyado na daw naaapektuhan yung kanyang pamilya. Okay? At yung kanyang marriage is being affected dahil dito sa mga tanong at sa mga discussion. Hindi kay Harry Roque pa rin sa mga inquiry sa kanya, 'di ba? Na naapektuhan daw yung marriage. Ang tanong ko, normal ba yung meron kang joint account doon sa assistant mo? Hindi kaya yun yung dahilan kung bakit
Mr. Supranational.
Oo. Normal ba yung gano'n na parang nag-joint account?
Tapos pwede kang mag-withdraw anytime, di ba?
Oo.
Yun pa, di ba? Oo.
Yung isa kasing sinabi niya doon sa kanyang Facebook na yung hinihingi sa kanya are not relevant to the inquiry. Ang limited na alam ko, hindi naman ikaw as a resource person na magpapasya kung ano yung relevant sa inquiry. Di ba? Magpapasya niyan yung committee.
Nagpa-prejudge siya. Yun ang sinasabi ko category.
Kaya sabi ko, parang mali yung sinasabi niya.
Well, kasi his connection to the Pogos is being established.
Yes.
He appeared as a lawyer. Sabi niya, hindi. Pero he accompanied Cassandra Ong So,
And tumawag siya several
oh,
times.
several
para
times,
i-follow up.
no? So, madaming circumstances that he appeared to be a lawyer. So, pwede nang tanunin yung ibang anything related to that, no? So, pwedeng tanungin na magkano binayad sa iyo, or are you being paid a retainer? So,
Ang sabi ni Congressman Luistro, kahit hindi siya binayaran, effectively, siya ay abogado.
yeah, because if you give advice as a lawyer, that's already lawyering.
Yes.
Kahit na hindi ka pa nabayaran, no?
Siguro naman, kuha ka pa ng analysis. Gagamitin natin mamaya.
or yung bayad ay hindi official.
So in simplest terms, how deep in it is Harry? I mean, gaano kalalim yung problema niya considering the preponderance of evidence and all of this political stuff. I mean, one of the things I noticed, Justice Carpio, is no one is defending Harry, not even you, not DDS, no one is defending
Yung kasi
him.
namin tatay niya, magkamukha kasi niya.
Pero hindi siya nag-isa. So just how deep he is in the trenches, if I can put it that way.
Well, it's pretty serious because if you are ordered to appear as a resource person, if there's a subpoena, you have to appear. The only time you can say I will not answer is after the question is asked and it's really
Right.
incriminating. Ngayon, he just doesn't want to appear. Delikado yun.
May precedents ba tayo ng ganon?
Parang yung final niya TRO eh. Hindi ko alam kung anong klaseng TRO, yung sa Supreme Court.
Well,
Parang
the
ini-involve niya
president
yung-
is Quiboloy.
Yes, which is a perfect segue to our next discussion, Justice Carpio. Speaking of Quiboloy, of course, I've been always egging you on your fellow Navaeños. Ayan na, nahuli na, finally. Were you surprised by the level of restraint and professionalism, at least that's my read, of General Torre and the Philippine National Police? The fact that they made sure walang gulong mangyari. And I also want to ask you, Justice, last year lang ba na-discovering human rights at due process sa Davao? Yung, yung Constitutional School of Torreon, Dean Torreon. Parang very concerned sila ngayon sa due process, tsaka human rights. What's the state of jurisprudential debate? Ano yung mga schools of thought dyan, Justice?
Well, it doesn't only, it's even former President Duterte is now
A human rights advocate.
He's now a
Yes.
human rights advocate and asking for due process,
Yes.
asking for fair hearing, as if they gave Laila de Lima what they're asking now, no?
And tens of thousands of alleged victims of EJK, yeah.
Yeah, but you have to give a little leeway to lawyers because they're defending a client and
Right.
they're supposed to exert every effort to defend their client within legal means, of course. Now,
Right. And how good was the effort in terms of the
well, ang problema is I think the PNP knew that he was there in that compound, so alam nila na andun talaga, and of course the lawyers tried to throw off the PNP na wala na doon. Even Sara Duterte also said something to raise doubt that Quiboloy is still there, that he probably went out of the country already. But nahuli na, no? So
Pero
and-
Justice, yung ganun bang sinasabi ng mga lawyer, paano sinasabi ng iba na sila ay bordering on obstruction and harboring? Totoo ba yun? May ganun bang possibility?
well, definitely harboring wala kasi hindi naman
Hindi naman nila hawak.
hindi
physically.
nila hawak, and the compound does not belong to Torreon, no? Yung ano sabi mo,
Obstruction.
obstruction,
Mm.
I don't think it has reached that point, no? For
what should they do now to be counted as now? There's an evidence that they knew where he was and all, but they didn't share, or they wanted to prevent physically the police from apprehending him. Like what?
Pati
will
nga daw
basis-
online eh. Kasi kahit yung mga nagmi-mislead sa mga online posts, pwede bang mangyari yung gano'n?
Or attacking the police.
Or
and all
attacking
that,
the police.
Yeah.
To distract them. Oh.
Iba yon, iba yung ina-attack.
well, pagdating kasi sa speech, we're very liberal, no? Because we're very protective of speech. Unless the speech invites immediate violence from the one hearing the
Incitement to
speech.
violence,
Yeah.
incitement.
So ito hindi naman siguro, and the PNP I think knew that these people are trying to mislead them. So alam naman eh.
Squid. But by the way, General Torre, nahilo Torre. General Torre said, ito interesting he didn't develop that argument fully, I don't know for whatever reason. Sabi niya, yung dahilan na nag-surrender si Quiboloy, of course he said joke time yung sinasabi nila na heroic sacrifice or yung sa military daw, sabi niya hindi, definitely this was police operation week. Nag-surrender daw siya kasi dun sa building na yan, baka may mahuli. Parang may tinatago pa daw siya. I mean, I think the implication is there could be minors there or something like that, or some really incriminating evidence daw na parang nag-preemptive surrender na lang siya para hindi susugurin yung building. That's what he told me.
Or baka para hindi itigil yung paghuhukay doon sa mga tunnel sa bunker. Na baka may mga evidence or baka may wealth na
tinatago.
Unexplained.
Yeah, exactly. Yun nga eh. That was an interesting point
Pero
you said.
all of that is hypothetical.
So yung actual bunker ba hindi nahanap?
Parang hindi.
Hindi.
Kasi kung hindi nahanap, baka
Dahil-
gamitin uli.
Because he surfaced he went out of the
Yeah,
Tigil
building.
na. Tigil na yung
So
search.
there were, bakit daw nag-surrender? Yung theory na may tinatago siya. So inuna na lang niya bago namin malaman what's going on. Diba?
Hindi, pero hindi ba ang magiging problema dyan? Paano pag merong ibang nagtago, yun ulit ang gamitin? So paano hukayin na naman ganun? So hindi ba...
Kasi ang hawak nila is warrant of arrest. Wala silang search warrant eh.
Okay.
So humingi sila ng search warrant and they can search it.
So yun kasi magsa-stumble into sila. Oh hindi, warrant of arrest lang. Biglang
Warrant
may
of
malaman.
arrest, nahuli na yung
Nahuli na
may
eh.
warrant, yung may warrant eh. So tigil na.
Tigil na.
Exactly. So,
Ngayon, kung may hinahanap ka mga barel at ginamit mo yung search warrant, yun, pwede magpatuloy yun.
ikaw Sir Ronald, may warrant ba sa'yo?
Wala pa eh.
Yung AK-47.
ang tanong ko din, ito parati ko tinatanong pag may episode tayo, anong mangyayari doon sa property? Anong mga posibleng what will happen?
Parati kang concerned sa...
Syempre, pera-pera.
Kasi wala ka na kay Harry eh. Wala naman.
Hindi, nakulat ako sa sinabi ni Secretary Remulla na pwedeng kunin ng gobyerno yung properties ni Quiboloy. Pwede ba yun?
Pwede ba yun? Oo.
Well, depende kung kanino niya niligay yung ownership. Kasi pwede siya he could have created a corporation soul, no? Yung religious corporation soul, like yung bishop, that's really a corporation soul. All the properties of the bishopric are held by the bishop, but in trust for the people, for the faithful, the members. And if the bishop dies, the next bishop takes over.
Right.
Because the bishop does not really own it. It's owned by the faithful. Now, I don't know how Quiboloy structured
Yung
his
corporate structure,
whether he used a corporation soul or not, no? Siguro, the way I look at it, the way because of what other people say, mukhang he put it in ordinary corporations. So, mukhang hindi niya sinasabi na na this belongs to the faithful, it belongs to him.
And then Duterte being the administrator, how does that play this into
Well,
this?
administrator of the property to just keep it there in the meantime.
Maintenance.
Maintenance lang. So, I think
So he cannot sell it or...
yeah,
Hindi ipasa.
he cannot sell it. But I think the people who should be interested most on how those properties are structured are the members. Kasi
Shareholder, yeah.
the faithful contributed to acquire those properties, no?
Yes.
And it should belong to the faithful. Katulad sa Catholic Church, the bishop, the cardinal, even the pope does not own it really, no?
Yes. Pero yung mga kulto kasi, yung cults kasi, usually, hierarchical yung structure niya.
Yes,
So,
yun
nakasentro.
yun ang tatanungin dapat ng members ng Kingdom of Jesus Christ. Sino bang may-ari nitong mga assets na ito? Yung 30-hectare compound, yung Coliseum nila, biggest in the world.
SMNI. Sino may-ari talaga ng SMNI?
KOJC.
Sino may-ari ng KOJC? Yun ang...
Yeah, but what KOJC could just be, is that a corporation? So,
Yes.
we don't know eh.
So kung mag-move in yung government to take over, anong pwede nilang ikaso? Kunyari, na galing sa ill-gotten wealth yung ginamit doon sa mga property na yon. So,
Anong lever ang gagamitin
anong-
nila? Legal lever to take over.
Well, because yung ill-gotten naman, hindi naman ito government eh, no? So, it's, ang ano dyan, it should belong to the members. I mean, that's the fairest.
Yes.
That's the most fair. It should belong to the members because they contributed.
So walang basis yung sinasabi ni Secretary Remulla na pwedeng kunin ng gobyerno.
Well, pwedeng kunin if it's the proceed of a crime. Like, for example, kasi may human trafficking, may money laundering, then that can be seized in favor of the government, forfeited, because that's the proceed
So
of
si
the crime.
AMLAC pwedeng gumalaw to, kung meron siya makita na...
Yeah. Pag nakita that there was money laundering, pwede yun. Pwede kunin ng state yun. Because that's a crime eh.
Right.
But if it's the contribution of the members because they are a part of the religious group, walang crime yun eh. No?
So paano yung justice? Let's say Ronald and Mark will convert. In an hour, they'll be part of the community of KGC.
I identify as a KOJC member.
Parang ganon. Like, I truly believe. Anong kwentaan dyan?
Hindi pwedeng retroactive yun eh. Dapat dati pa kami miyembro.
Retroactive. Dapat bago sumugod si Torre, member ka na. Hindi na pwede yung pagkatapos.
Or
makikihati kami, hindi naman kami
Makikihati pa.
nag-contribute.
Wala kayo nung hinuhukay.
It's
Tapos
still
ngayon,
in the
makikihati
country.
kayo.
So, bago siya mag-extradite, speaking of extradition, Ambassador Romualdez said it's almost inevitable. I think he went as far as saying that papunta na tayo dyan.
Pero medyo malabo yung sabi kasi ni Babes,
Yun nga eh.
sabi niya dati, kailangan tapusin daw muna yung mga
In
kaso
the
nito.
Philippines, yeah.
Pero at the same time, sinasabi niya inevitable. Anong ibig sabihin nun? No?
Inevitable in 20 years. What's your read of that in terms of U.S. aspect, U.S. pressure?
Well, we expect that the U.S. will request for extradition. The Philippine response can either be, okay, we'll allow extradition now. We'll allow the U.S. to take a first crack to prosecute him. And after that, we will prosecute him. Or it can be the reverse. We will prosecute him first. After that, we'll turn him over to you. So, either way, no?
So bottom line, Justice, it's nasa discretion ng state.
Yeah,
ng
it's
Estado.
it's the
Walang fix na rules.
Wala.
Hindi ba dadaan sa court yan in terms of determination of applicability of the extradition treaty?
Well, the extradition law says you have to file the petition for extradition. The DOJ will file it, no?
Right.
With the RTC, and then
Exactly, RTC, yeah.
and then if it's adverse to the person, he can appeal to the CA, Court of Appeals, and then finally to the Supreme Court.
So he can fight yung kanyang extradition.
That could take a long
That could take years, no?
Yeah, I know. That's what
Kailangan lang niyang paabuti ng
Sara.
2028.
Yeah, it could take a long time, but in the meantime, the trial here for the Philippine crime
Will go on.
Will go on.
So tatlo na yan, di ba? One is in QC, one is in Pasig, and then there's another one in Davao also, di ba? But the non-bailable one is
in
Pasig,
Pasig.
yeah.
Actually, kahit theoretically ay pwedeng i-drag, depende sa political will ng gobyerno yan eh. Pwede nilang pabilisin yan eh. Meron kang iba't ibang mga
Ronald, how dare you question the independence of our court?
Pag nasa aeroplano ka na, parang ang hirap ng pigilan eh.
Sinasabi ko nga, may mga informal pressures.
Isasakay na lang siya bigla, C-130.
Walang sinasabi.
Gising niya, nasa ano na.
Rendition yun.
But the way I see it, Quiboloy will question the extradition. The DOJ will file. It will take time kasi RTC, CA, Supreme Court pa yan. In the meantime, there will be trial because that will proceed.
Right. Are you optimistic about the direction of this whole Quiboloy saga? I mean, do you think this could be the beginning of something even bigger in terms of holding some of the religious groups accountable? Kasi just a few months ago, we were in a territory of people invoking separation of church and state. Diba yun ang ginagawa ni Robin Hood? Our constitutional law expert in Senate, right?
May precedents pa dyan, Justice, sa ganyang klaseng more or less similar na issue.
Where the person being extradited can raise religious freedom.
And at the same time, yung pace ng local courts vis-a-vis extradition. Wala kasi ako alam ng mga precedents.
I can't remember right now of a situation where he was charged in the US and here, and we made a choice kung sino mauna. I can't remember.
That's a crazy situation. We're finding how invincible or invulnerable supposedly Quiboloy was. I mean, how much of impunity was shattered with this move by the PNP and him facing justice right now? Because this is the beshi of Duterte, right? They were like kind of the Siamese twins in power in Davao. They had a joint kingdom in many ways, you can say, right?
Well, it shows that finally the administration is getting their act together and getting their instructions implemented at the precinct level, because but they had to replace the police in the precincts now in Davao.
Is that your phone, Justice? Whose phone is that? Tumatawag ba? Medyo nasabayan tayo ng
Okay.
may ingay din tayong kapitbahay dyan mamaya.
Oh.
Yes, please go ahead.
So the case can be heard here while it's being appealed. So it's very interesting, no? So
It's yeah.
Baka yan ang maging president
Olympics
for
pala
the
tayo.
future.
This will be a president setting.
Nagreklamo yung abogado ni Pastor Quiboloy Kasi wala daw music doon sa kanyang detention. Wala daw social media.
Massage.
Tinanong pa.
Actually, meron siyang appeal na house arrest. At yung house arrest doon sa Prayer Mountain.
Balik na naman siya doon sa bank.
Doon. Yun ang kasasal.
hanapin.
Tapos meron pa
naman.
request for hospital arrest. Halos sabay-sabay yung kanilang mga request
Kasi shopping na naman sila. Tapon-tapon na naman. Tapon-tapon. Now, going back to tapon-tapon, may mga nagsabi ng tapon ng pera yung iba dyan doon sa Duran ba yan? Nagdurian. Yung, Justice, what is your take on the BBM enjoying himself on birthday? Wala naman mali, diba? But flying in, it's so London, it's so New York. Makano daw ginastos? 700? 1 million?
Di natin alam.
But it was not cheap.
Pero
I'm sure
usually,
it was not charged.
Yung nasa rate card is around $1 million.
Yung
Sa rate card.
Yung usual na payment nila.
Yeah.
Siyempre, may aeroplano pa yan. First class, hotels,
May
etc.
gift pa yan. Siguro watch na expensive. Mga ganun, no?
So, hindi natin sure.
Oof.
Pero yun ang tanong ko, Justice, dahil kung sila ang gumastos, halimbawa, si BBM or pamilya niya, hindi masyadong
Legally
fall
exposed.
sa RA 3019, Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Law. Pero kung mga kaibigan nila, mas vulnerable Dahil, di ba, mas klaro yun Yung
What is the
RA
legal and ethical conversation
kung sila kasi ang gumastos, mas imagery at saka ang kwan ng problema.
Well, it's clear. First of all, the Constitution says public officials shall lead modest lives. No? That's basic. That's
Code of ethics na.
And then you have the Code of Ethics for government employees. Repeats that.
Yeah.
Public officials shall lead modest lives. And also there's the anti-graft law which says anything like giving gifts like that. No? So, it's not a good PR for them, really.
Yeah, they keep on doing that, no? I mean, and then this
Catching defeat from the jaws of victory.
Imagine the momentum they had, Alice Go, Quiboloy, now fugitive Manhunt, whatever you want to call it, for Harry Roque, and then suddenly, na-shift na naman yung discussion to the other side. On top of the PhilHealth, right, scandal we have been discussing for the past 2 months or so. Ano yung latest, Justice Carpio, as of mid-September? What is the status of that, what you see as very scandalous and illegal, unconstitutional?
Nasa Supreme Court yung...
Well, there's a petition already filed with the Supreme Court. That's a group of Shelo Magno. Our group, the Sambayan, will be filing soon.
Separately po.
Separate.
What's the difference in what is the difference? But iba yung case nyo? Iba yung angle?
Yes, we're filing our case on a different ground,
Can you explain, like, for
because
layman?
kasi under the Constitution, the president can transfer savings from one item to another within the executive branch. So it's only the president who can be authorized by law to transfer savings.
Right.
Ang ginawa ng Congress, because they want to shield the president, they authorize the Department of Finance Secretary to do it. To transfer the excess funds, they call it excess funds, but
Right.
really savings from PhilHealth to other items. No? So that's our basic ground. You cannot authorize the
Yes.
secretary. It's only the president.
Right.
Pero sinasabi nila, naglagay sila ng rider sa GAA, no? Para daw maging hindi malabag yung mga
Yeah.
existing kwan.
But it's very clear. The Constitution only authorizes the president. It's only the president who can transfer by delegation by Congress in a law. Dinelegate nila si Recto to shield the president. So mali na yun. Second,
Right.
ang kinuha nilang pera yung PhilHealth funds.
Yes.
PhilHealth funds are special funds raised through taxation for a specific purpose.
Right.
Under the Constitution, if it's a special fund raised through taxation for a specific purpose, it cannot be used for any other purpose
Right.
until that purpose has been accomplished or abandoned by law. Hindi pa naman, not all of us are
Yes.
getting the benefits under
Yes.
PhilHealth. So, hindi pa na-accomplish yung purpose. So, the funds of PhilHealth can't be used for any other purpose.
Yes.
So that's that one. Even Congress cannot pass a law saying that it can be used for another purpose.
Yes. Anong ginagamit nilang legal term of reference to justify what they did?
Well, they're not saying na hindi naman savings. But if it's not savings, why are you transferring it?
Right. Medyo magulo, diba?
So they'll have a hard time. So we raised that, and also we said that if the law says the fund can be used for health only, it's special fund, and you divert it and use it for another purpose,
Yeah.
technical malversation.
Yeah.
If the amount is more than 50 million pesos and it's more than once, you do it more than once, ito tranches na ito eh.
Right.
Parang plunder na.
Plunder.
Pero yung pong nasasabi din na yung part daw ng funds ay nagamit for healthcare workers na benefits daw. Na parang yung sa mga pandemic na frontliners.
They're saying na the part of the funds will be used to pay the health workers during the pandemic, no?
Right.
But that's not for the
PhilHealth.
PhilHealth. Secondly, but then they're only saying part. Yung the rest will be used for something else. It's still unconstitutional, even if you say na, okay, that's covered.
Yeah.
Hindi pa rin it
Sa-
will not,
Justice, ang sabi ng Supreme Court, they will decide on January. By that time, baka naubos na yung pera,
Yeah.
90 billion.
Yeah,
Kung sakaling gumawa sila ng decision in favor doon sa mga petitioners, mapapawi pa ba yun? Kung halimbawa nabigay na, paano?
Well,
Ano yun eh?
if let's say after the funds were transferred already and the Supreme Court will decide, say it's unconstitutional, if the funds are still there, it will be returned.
Yes.
But if the funds were
Nagastos
disbursed
na.
already, nobody can return it.
Oh.
So, ano na lang?
Kakasuhan na lang yung mga pwedeng kasuhan.
Well, they will say that ang defense naman ng government officials suspend it already. Said,
Wala naman ruling nun.
yeah, there was a law and we are in good faith. They will use good
May
faith.
regularity.
Medyo, yeah.
But that's why we're saying to prevent that situation where the funds will be spent and later on it will be declared unconstitutional, mag-TRO na ngayon.
Yun nga eh, to just suspend the process for now, to freeze the
oh.
situation. Kasi by January, wala na yan.
Kung hindi sila magti-TRO, it can be moot and academic. Kahit halimbawa manalo yung petitioners. Na ito
Yes,
ay
it can be.
unconstitutional.
Oh.
Yeah.
What precedents for future at least? What precedents for future?
Yeah. Well, they cannot do it again in 2025.
For 2028, oo. Or ahead of the next election,
Yeah,
I mean, of course.
2025, no?
Oo.
But I think well, to prevent that situation, there should be a TRO.
Right. Now, just
So, ang ifa-file nyo, hindi lang yung constitutionality. Ang ifa-file nyo is also for TRO?
Yeah, we're asking, sila Chero din, the present petition, they ask also for a
Okay.
TRO.
Yeah.
Pero the Supreme Court, in their resolution, only scheduled it for January. They
January.
were silent on the TRO. So
Right.
I think the Supreme Court could still decide on the TRO.
soon.
Soon.
Kasi January may be too late na.
Because
Oo.
they could have decided first the schedule and then the TRO in their next meetings. No.
Right. Now, Justice, let's also talk about Alice Go as we go towards the China issue. I mean, obviously, we see Waping Go. Do you see any value to the latest hearings that are coming out, or do you think this thing should be now passed on to the relevant agencies na tapos na yung dapat yung public hearings and all of that? Is enough coming out, or is this is becoming a political fiesta, carnival?
Well, I think there's a ground to continue because they still don't know who are the principals, who is behind Alice Go. Because if they have to craft legislation, they should address that issue, no?
In what specific way? So a former PNP chief is being accused of.
Well, only for helping her escape, no?
Right.
But who is really the capitalist here? Who owns those structures, no? Because that's 5 billion peso structures.
Yeah. And you doubt that she's the one.
7 billion.
7 billion. So we have to find out who owns these structures and how we can forfeit these structures. No? Because Alice Go is saying, I don't own those structures.
So tama sila Bato and Robin Hood na talagang matreten yung life nila. I mean, if she's gonna laglag the big guys, di ba? Mayari siya, di ba? I mean, what can
Kaya
she
pala
be?
sinundo nila Ben-Hur, no? Kasi,
Baka yayarin
oo, para
witness protection
ano,
program is that a potential way forward? But yun nga, baka she'll use it to escape accountability. I mean, what is the balanced way forward?
Well, you must not be the most guilty. You must
Yeah.
be the least guilty,
Accessory.
or not at least not the most guilty to be a
Public
witness.
yeah.
Kasama rin ba,
Witness.
Justice, na dapat lumabas bago ipasa sa relevant courts ay yung sino yung mga enablers sa gobyerno na tumulong? Is that part of the dapat in aid of legislation? No?
Well, in aid of legislation, you can say that we have to proceed further to find out how they actually did this. But not for purposes of prosecution, because that's that's
Yes.
the executive yan eh. But they can say that we need to continue because we need to know how this came about.
Yeah, yung mga butas. I mean, for instance, medyo nalaman natin yung mga butas sa late registration.
Yeah, like for
Right,
example, in the late registration
Right.
of birth, if you register late by 1 year, it's only the civil registrar who will decide to grant or not to
Yeah.
grant. Maybe because of the lateness, you should throw it to another body.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 or 3 people to decide, no?
More layers of support.
Yeah,
layers.
just to ano.
But is there a way for Alice Go to para I'm asking for the Alice Go fans. Mapashare. Ano ba tayo? Is there a way for her na maipasok like to be a state witness, or meron ba siyang path na ganon? Kasi hanggang ngayon nagsisinungaling pa rin eh. Ang dami hindi pa rin nagano, pero meron bang path na pwede siyang maging possible state witness?
Dagdag
For
sa
instance.
tanong ni Mark, Justice, kung yung may implicate na principals are foreigners, no, hindi mga Pilipino, ay si Alice Go ba ay pwede pa ring mag-invoke na witness protection? Dahil hindi naman mga Pinoy yung
Pinoy,
possible principals.
yeah.
No?
Ang ano lang, as long as she is not the most guilty,
Kahit foreigners yung mas guilty.
yeah, kahit nasa abroad din nila.
yeah, because we probably want to know who are really the principals now. But if she doesn't stop, well, the most guilty will be her, no? Wala tayong alam kung who else will be there.
Yo, speaking of foreign powers, China, What is your read of the latest incident? Kasi yung favorite columnist ni Ronald Capon, excited na excited for China. China outsmarted Marcos Jr. It's amazing, no? We have people here who are cheering for China, who are happy for China. Like, China, thank you for taking away. You embarrass Marcos. I so hate Marcos. I rather have China of that place.
Tapos,
Surrender daw.
susunod siya ng column, ang ini-affirm niya ay yung mas pa siya, mas gangho pa siya kesa dun sa
Chinese,
sa Foreign Affairs Ministry ng China, no?
Medyo global times yung kalaban niya, kalabal niya. Medyo,
at madalas na lumalamang pa siya.
medyo,
Bobby Tiglao.
Supra times. Kaya nga sabi ko, Jonathan Morales.
Ako di ko alam. Nalaman ko na.
Justice, now you see where I come from. Now you see my dilemma.
Hindi ko alam kanina yung pinag-uusapan na. Si Bobby Tiglao pala.
Nakalusot na nga eh.
Pero China, di ba?
Sumikat pa. He's not even partner. Natatawa lang ako. Yes, Justice.
Well, you have to understand that's coming from a guy who said that the arbitral award is null and void. So, he has taken the line of China completely. So
I wonder why. No? I wonder
So, wala tayong magawa because he said that the arbitral award is null and void, then talagang ano yan, on the side of China talaga yan.
Pero yung newspaper na yan, di ba may mga editorial na ngayon na inatak pa si Digong as agent of China. What's going on with that newspaper? I was like, so I mean, we know what was going on during, yung nilagay kayong dalawa sa Matrix, di ba? Ako yung wala si Jollibee pa nga. Nilagay ka ba sa Matrix dati? Hindi, no?
Hindi.
Yung Matrix na, ikaw nilagay ka.
Oo, twice. Pero Manila Times kasi, siyempre, mga may-ari niya.
Ayan tayo eh! Ayan tayo! Man! Where is...
Ang mga may-ari niya, mga negosyante rin eh. So, they have to balance eh.
Kanina.
They have to balance eh.
Wala kang plausible deniability sa mundo.
Huwag kang mag-alala, I'll take the cudgels for you.
No, paalala po, Ronald Llamas is not a legal. Ikaw, Justice, what's your take? Surrender ba yung nangyari sa Skoda Shoal? Na-outsmart na ba tayo ng China? Tapos na bang laban? Should we bring out the red carpet for Chinese, victorious Chinese friends? Mga ganun.
Well, we did not surrender, no. We had to leave. Teresa Magbano had to leave because
5 months na.
Yeah, 5 months they were low on supplies. Some of their people were sick, and also there was an inclement weather coming.
Yes.
So it was justified to leave, but it doesn't mean that we surrendered. I think we sent a ship there to replace a smaller ship, 44 meter, but I think it encountered a problem because it was blocked by the Chinese. So I've been saying, let's file another arbitration case. Because once an arbitration case is filed, there's a principle that the parties should not aggravate the dispute. So if China will ram again our ships, that's aggravating the dispute. Bad faith, the court will get mad at them. That's exactly what happened in the 2016 arbitral award. No? Second, we should accept the U.S. offer to escort. Yeah, because the plan of China is to ram our ships, butasan nila, and we run out of ships, of Coast Guard vessels, because we have only 2 97-meter Coast Guard vessels, and one will be out of commission for, maybe it will take 5 to 6 months to repair. So, talagang mauubos yung ating Coast Guard vessels doon. So, to counter that plan of China to decapitate our ship, let's have the escort.
Tungkol dyan sa second arbitral case na posible justice. Last year kasi, mas umaandar yan eh. No? Ngayon parang hindi na pinag-uusapan eh. Sa government circles.
Yeah.
Ano bang, from your vantage point, anong tingin nyo yung possibility niyan?
Well,
dahil hindi naman tayo magsasampa niyan eh. Yung gobyerno magsasampa eh. No?
Yeah, that's right. Well, when they're talking of a second case in the wave several months back, they were talking of damage to the environment, na sinira ro yung coral reef. But I said, you need a marine scientific assessment that the damage was caused by man and not by a tsunami or
Climate
typhoon or
change,
anything
Natural.
natural, no? Kasi nobody saw it eh.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to prove to the tribunal that it was the Chinese, tatanungin nila, what's your proof?
Yeah. And the body conducting that should be neutral, not Filipino, not
Yeah, so we should
not
have-
American, whatever. Yeah.
We should have our own assessment, and we should get a foreign group to do also the assessment, because the tribunal will get their own, and they can compare, no? So for filing that case, the most important document that we must present will be the marine scientific
scientific.
assessment. And we have not done that. So we cannot move forward on that. In the meantime, nagbanggaan, binutasan na yung ating Coast Guard vessel. We can now ask for damages. It's easier because we have all the video, we have the people to testify, all the pictures. So we can ask for damages. We can file that, and let's say we're awarded $1 million, China will not pay. But may utang tayo sa China eh. Because of the
Ibabawas.
Kaliwa Dam.
Ibabawas.
Yeah, but pwedeng ibawas.
Oo.
So,
Diba,
there's-
hostage taking, medyo hostage exchange ba ito? May utang ako, ito, again.
Pero may pagka-punitive yun.
yeah,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
but China dreads another arbitration case because the world will rally behind an arbitral award, just like in the 2016. And that's why Wu Shikun said, we must stop the Philippines from filing another case. Sinabi niya yun eh.
Yeah.
That means they
Yes.
really dread, because if there's another arbitral award against, talagang everybody will say, talagang wala yung
Pero
that's
tatanggapin
right.
ba ng UNCLOS yung isang damage, about damages?
Yeah, they will.
So we'll build on the 2016 arbitral tribunal.
Yes, that will be
They were
on
found
top.
of violating
Oh.
requirement.
Oh.
But speaking of this, I mean, can't we just leverage the threat of arbitration? Don't you think
Well,
we-
we've
Do you
already,
think we're past that point?
yeah, we're past that point, no?
Bakit they just don't think it's credible threat? Maybe to make the threat more credible, make some moves.
Well, I think we should just go on, because the arbitral award will be another rallying point for the rest of the world, no?
But when you say rest of the world, I mean, China's a lot of countries in its pockets. No offense to these countries, right? I mean, let's start with ASEAN. Who do you think will back us up?
Well, the ASEAN, although Vietnam is really, in a way, invoking also the award, because they say that the Nine Dash Line is a fiction, and also Malaysia, without really saying, without really citing the arbitral award. But of course, everybody knows that that's their basis. It's only Indonesia that said that under the arbitral award, that's a fiction. So, but the scholars say that, but the official line of the government is they don't mention it, but they're saying it's a fiction without saying why.
Right. Now, let's go to the last part of this discussion.
May pahabol lang.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Going
Please, go
back to sa
Yes,
Teresa
sir.
Magbanwa na pinag-usapan natin kanina. Justice, for the past 3 weeks, pinag-uusapan na natin na kulang sa pagkain, kulang sa tubig, kulang sa supplies yung Teresa Magbanwa. Kaya hindi surprising yung kanilang dire straits. Bakit hindi pinipreposition yung papalit earlier? Bakit
tayo pa na
bakit
talaga
pinaalis
bago
muna bago
mag-agree?
nagpapunta? So, madaling harangan, no? Yun yung tanong ko eh. Is it a tactical mistake? Is it a ano ba yung naging problema? No?
Well, because remember, we sent the smaller ship, yung BRP Engaño.
Yeah.
Those are 44 meters.
Yeah,
no?
44
Almost
meters.
And they were stopped.
Yeah.
They were stopped.
Yes.
So if we
Twice.
send another 44 meter, it will be stopped.
Yeah.
That's why, unless we get the Americans to join us there. But we have not yet made that decision. So pag nagpadala tayo, haharangin din.
Why not Navy? Naval warships,
Oh,
BRP.
that's another
Harangin din yan.
that's another decision point, because we have not yet made a decision to send the Navy. No? We're
So
using
that's the position, Admiral, na actually if you use Navy, magdadalawang isip ang China to block it, and these are bigger ships. We have
Hindi,
to-
pero there are 7 PLA Navy vessels doon, no?
We have to take risk
There
at
are
some
more than
point, yeah.
12 na
Yeah.
Coast Guard, and there are more than 50 na militia.
Militia, yeah.
So lahat meron eh.
Yeah. So, but if you look at what happened in Malaysia when they sent their survey and drill ship to their EEZ and China said you cannot do that, that's within the 10-dash line. Pinadala pa rin nila and the US and Australian warships were there.
They did joint patrols.
Oh, it was a joint patrol but they were there at conducting naval drills kasi they have
Kumbaga,
freedom
malapit
of
sila.
navigation.
2021,
So walang
yeah.
nagawa yung
Yeah.
Chinese Coast Guard.
So for you, that's
Really
that's
the
template.
That's a template for successful
And
resupply.
unlike Malaysia, we're a treaty ally, so the US will have to come in. They have
Yeah.
no choice.
Of course, Malaysia will not admit it, but that was arranged behind the scene, no? That the U.S. will be there conducting naval drills at the same time. By orchestration, that was orchestrated.
Justice, what is the status of the Escoda Shoal? I mean, do we have any troops presence there? Can we build facilities? Can we ground another warship? Kasi we keep on hearing, diba nung utak forum natin na akala daw ng China, baka magbibuild din tayo ng BRP Sierra Madre natin. What is our presence there?
Well, right now we don't have a presence because the other 44-meter boat that we sent was blocked, no?
Yeah.
But the Skoda Shoal has many entrances.
Two
So
entrances,
yeah, it's easy
from
to
east and
enter.
west. Yeah.
It's easy to enter. So it's not like Scarborough Shoal. There's only one entrance.
one
to
lagoon. Oh.
one. So we can go back there, no? And we can go back there with a big ship like the Magbano, Teresa Magbano,
Yeah.
no? Or Melchora,
I mean, this
you
is
know.
just 70 nautical miles from Palawan. It's just too close to us for us to
Yes,
give up to
yes.
the Chinese. If they build
Yeah.
facilities military there, it's too much. It's
Ang
too close
problema
to
lang natin dyan, malaki nga yung Escoda eh. Pero ang kaibahan lang, ang dami ring Chinese vessels na nakakuan ngayon.
71.
Oo.
Oo.
At pwede pa nilang dagdagan. No?
Because they have 200 in
Yes.
the air,
Yeah.
203 in the air.
Yun lang yung problema natin, kahit malaki yung Escoda. Pwede nilang i-flood dyan eh, ng mga vessels
Yung
nila.
propellers,
Unlike us.
of course.
Unlike us. No?
Yeah. Kaya nga, just to say, maybe the Americans have to come in. Admiral Ong kahapon was saying maybe the Navy has to step in. So, hindi siya madali. But we have options. There are toolkits there, right? And
Yeah.
you're saying arbitration probably should also
Yeah,
come in,
I think it's time to bring in the arbitration
Yeah.
already.
to get their attention. No, to
Yeah,
get,
and
we're serious
because
people.
the world will rally behind an arbitral award. No?
Yeah. Pero a week ago, nagkaroon na naman tayo ng bilateral meeting sa Beijing. No? Ostensibly, to build on the agreement sa Ayungin. No?
Provisional.
Pero how feasible ba, Justice, na meron kang agreement sa Ayungin, pero meron kang heightened aggression sa Scarborough, sa Escoda, sa Sabina, no? So how terrible, 'di ba? Parang
Sinasalami slice ba nila
tayo
tayo?
ba
Or what's going on?
is this naive for the government to expect na pwedeng magkaroon pa ng similar agreement like sa Ayungin sa
Well,
ibang bahagi ng West Philippine Sea?
First of all, the Chinese look at the West Philippine Sea as a whole.
Yes.
Right.
So
Integrated theater.
yeah, we may have an agreement here, but the rest of the area we're still claiming it.
Mm.
Secondly, I'm not happy with that agreement
Yeah.
Mm.
I heard
because that agreement in effect says we cannot resupply unless we hold a meeting first with the Chinese.
coordination-ish.
Yeah. So, in other words, China has a veto power. If because right now we have sovereign rights, we can go there anytime to resupply.
Yes.
But what we're doing is we are weakening that right
Mm.
by saying we'll do that only if we meet with the Chinese. So it's not, as if we are cutting down our rights.
Mm.
We're
because
tying
of-
our own hands.
Yeah,
behind
we're tying
back.
our own hands. So
Yeah.
I said, we better not continue with that.
Right.
Much less expand it because China will say, oh, you agreed we have some rights.
Yun nga eh. So it's a de facto recognition
So,
of their
de facto,
questionable-
yes.
yeah,
So we should
their
not do
question.
it.
But I think what happened, again, to be fair, because I interviewed si Ambassador Manalo also on this, his stance was we didn't compromise or anything like that. He I think even his question whether he's saying no coordination whatsoever. So actually, I don't know what really was agreed upon. It's like there's not even an agreement to agree to disagree. Like right, it's
Yeah.
It's what the...
There was no agreement because China is saying, no, this was the agreement. We said,
And
no,
they said,
that's
no, it's
exactly.
not, yeah.
So there was, first of all, there was no
Yeah.
agreement. So if you want to expand it, what are you
So baka we
expanding?
have to just Harry Roque them. Squid game lang, di ba? Yung parang what Harry does to us, i-Harry natin ng China. May you never know, it might work, right? I think we can squid them the Chinese also. Maybe we can send Harry Roque to negotiate. Ay, hindi pala, ano siya. May Pogo angle. Last one.
China eats squid.
Yeah.
They're the biggest eater of squid sa buong mundo. Kaya hindi mo sila pwedeng
O nga, no, they like...
Yeah,
Dahil dyan, o nga.
even sa Latin America,
Yeah,
they're harvesting
yeah,
squids.
they have a sea of ink to throw.
Yeah, yun nga, yeah. So last part, very shortly, Sara Duterte. Can we talk about Sara Duterte a bit? Last time we discussed Sara Duterte, I said something like, she seems like a poor copy of an original poor political entity, right? But in fairness, yung latest niya, I think she came in quite strong and just shut
Ayan
down
na,
the
ayan
whole
na.
thing and saying, and you can see, kasi now I'm a DDS fan.
Ayan na,
I'm a
pro
DDS
Sara.
hero. Kasi
Hindi naman
sabi
daw
ko,
DDS, pro Sara lang.
oh, I don't care for anyone except Sara. I was very impressed kay Sara kasi ang galing niya magbasa sa cellphone. Ang galing ng cellphone niya, siguro Huawei. Ang galing ng binasa niya sa cellphone. I think that was the best statement that ever came out of the OVP office of Sara Duterte. No? Immediately shut down. Tapos yung congressman, binambazuzel niya yung congressman. Bakit? Di naman ako Russian person ako. Bakit? Hindi ako. Tapos gano'n na lang siya. Kinarin lang na. Walk out na. Tapos si Ma'am Arroyo pa na ayos-ayos ng hair. Can we take a break? Tapos nagbulong-bulong. Like,
Dapat sinabi sa kanya ng isa o dalawa doon sa mga congressista ron. What's so difficult about taking an oath?
yun nga like, ayaw mo mag-sabi ng katotohanan.
Parang walang direct na
to
confirm.
tell the truth, but nothing but the truth, so help you God. What's so difficult about that, no? Tapos sasabihin mo na hindi ka humihingi ng special treatment. By not taking that oath, you already are asking for special treatment, no? So, ang daming pwedeng ibutas doon sa kanyang kwan. Medyo hindi lang ganun ka-sharp yung mga kongresista. Medyo lang.
Hindi ko na i-defend Mark,
kasi ano ang pinakapunto dito, the whole exercise of getting Sara diyan sa as a resource person or witness is yung ano siya yung showmanship of it all Yun you're not going to get anything. Kumbaga yun nga yung sinabi ni Sara, ano lang naman to So kung alam nyo naman lahat na this is all for showmanship, di ba, ba't hindi nyo din paghandaan? Bakit why did parang Sara have to make some of the congressmen look weak? Right. Diba? Pag iba yung resource person, sinasabon nila. Napakaano nila nung si Sara na parang yung iba sa kanila tumitiklop na.
Ang sabi ni Congressman Chua, respect daw for the office. Yun ang sabi niya. Tinanong ko yung kay Congressman Chua, bakit sa iba pwede niyo i-contempt? Bakit ito hindi man lang? No?
Special treatment.
There's a respectful way na makipagbardagulan. So,
let's see justice. Okay, Justice, go ahead. Do your respectful bardagulan.
Well, I think nagulat sila, no?
Yeah.
They were not prepared for that kind
For a
of
prepared Sara.
Yeah,
They were not
prepared.
prepared for a prepared Sara. In fairness.
So they have to prepare next time.
See, I'm right. Sara was better prepared. Galing naman ba?
Pero hindi mo naman kinakailangan
pangatlong labas na ni Sara
Hindi mo kinakailangan ng masyadong preparation para sabihin
Parang
na ang resource persons has to take an oath, no? Hindi lang witness, no?
So ano ba talaga? Kasi di ba sabi ni
hindi
Chua,
kinakailangan ng preparasyon doon
So should she take an oath even if she's not
Oo nga.
if she's just a resource person, hindi naman siya inakusa, hindi naman
Sa
siya
rules
witness.
daw.
Yeah.
Witness lang daw ang
I know
nabuo.
hindi kayo
Hindi.
legislative.
Tinanong ko sila, tsaka tinanong ko rin yung Senate. Hindi pwede magkaiba yung rules ng Senate sa House, sa resource person, tsaka sa witness.
I think catch all dapat yan. Applicable whether kay Kasiong
Nung una ko narinig yan, nagtawag ako Sabi ko, ano ba to?
So bakit nakalusot ng saan? What is your read of that whole performance or that hearing?
Well, nagulat ni Sara yung mga
Yung mga prepared siya.
congressman, wala silang for example, on the whether she needs to take the oath or not. No?
Yun pa lang, wala.
Their response was not forceful.
Yeah. Ang paliwanag ni Chairman Chua, Congressman Chua, ay bago lang naman siya. Parang first time na naging head ng committee, no? Something like that. So,
Kaka-upgrade.
Nilalapas
Sabi ko
na.
nga, Sara has only one move. She has only one may isang ano lang siya, may isang mode lang siya, which is parang spoiled brat, magbratinela. So basang-basa mo dapat eh. She did that sa Senado.
that was a
She did that
predictable
nung
move, yeah.
parang
huling
parang nung
Congress
una niyang harap, ang
Oh.
dinepensahan siya
Lisa.
ni Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, no, GMA, na hindi pwedeng kuhan. Dapat ang pinag-uusapan yung 2025 budget. Alam ni former Speaker Arroyo na hindi, na pwedeng balikan yung mga nakaraang mga taon, pwede i-compare, no? Pero nung simula nakalusot. Dahil wala masyadong nag-engage, di ba? Parang na-intimidate na-intimidate. Yun yung sinasabi ni Justice na kailangan mas mag-prepare pa sila, no? Ng maayos. Pero bahagi nito ay hindi lang preparasyon eh. Bahagi nito ay stock knowledge eh. Dapat alam mo yung mga rules na ganyan eh.
Briefings, basic briefings.
Dapat you bring the people na may stock knowledge eh, ganun. Dapat
Wait lang, we
you should
can
have
do
them
that
on
in
board.
our Patapusin muna natin yung guest natin. Last one kayo dyan. Just on the last note, okay, Justice, so sinasabi nila kami ni Ronald ay sensationalist kasi impeachment. At the same time, pinapagalitan din tayong dalawa kasi sabi natin ICC September. Paubos na yung September. Mawala na kami ng kredibilidad. Kaya nag-Sara na ako Team Sara na ako para may pag-asa na tayo as political analyst. Justice, ano bang marites natin? We had some of the key lawyers or informed sabi they're calling now on the ICC to move faster now on this. So we're not the only one expecting something on ICC front, right?
Well, we said that it was likely to be issued September, but of course we didn't say for sure.
For sure, yeah. See?
Si Justice nagsabi na pag ikaw eh.
This is 100%.
Wala naman pwede magsabi sa ICC ng exact timeline.
Wala.
Walang-
Pero yun ang dapat timeline, di ba? More or less before the end of the year, di ba?
Yeah.
Yun yung inaasahan
So,
natin.
In terms of administrative and di ba? If you look at the schedule and everything, my understanding is everyone who knows about the legal aspects of this, they expect it now, but they just want it ahead of elections. Ahead of, October, filing of candidacy. Not
Actually,
elections.
pwede mong sabihin kasi na, usually 7 years yan. Pero hindi mo ma-eksakto sa buwan. Usually, yung preliminary investigation, matatapos yan. Yung institutional memory ng ICC, 7 years, lalabas na international warrant. Yun yung part. Pero yung exact month, hindi mo sigurado.
Pero hindi yung year ang basis, diba? Ang basis na is since naging formal na yung investigations, diba? And then from there you can count it from what I understand. Okay, I can see Justice is all saying, wag mo ako ipahamak! Alright. No, guys, it will come. Don't worry, it will come. No, it's the same with the arbitration case, diba? We were expecting it to come 2015. Paano nga, diba?
Yeah.
Eventually, it came but a few months later, including later than Pinoy. Once
Yes,
Pinoy was
yes,
out.
yes.
So, actually, this is not the first time this is happening. More or less, it happened with a few months up and
These
down.
are international bodies composed of
we cannot
different
control.
countries.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, we cannot control.
No.
But just as if ever there's a red notice by Interpol this month or next month, do you think that could be a game changer? Kasi parang sablay ng impeachment proceedings, I don't think that will prosper under current conditions.
What will not prosper?
Yung impeachment before midterms. Because 2 weeks ago, some people were optimistic about the momentum. Ngayon, nabubisit na iba. Like si Sunny, di ba? Ako nang gano'n dyan, di ba?
Siya na magka-fight.
Oo. Through
Kay
sponsors.
Janice.
Well, I don't know when they will file, if ever they will file, because we don't know really what they have in mind. But on the red notice, it follows the same procedure as the extradition.
It has to go through the court again and
Yes, it
determine
has.
its applicability.
The DOJ will have to file a petition with the RTC, and that
Same.
takes a lot of time
Again.
because it goes to the CA, it goes to the Supreme Court, where 13 of the 15 justices
Were appointed by Duterte.
Yes.
Well, I think on that note, I won't put any adjective on that somber note. I won't say sobering. thank you so much, Justice
Okay,
Carpio, for giving
thank
your
you
time.
for having me.
Really appreciate your time. That was very traffic day. Any final questions and notes from my
Pasensya na, Justice, ha, sa
Pinahama ka namin.
traffic.
Oo.
Alabang pa nakatira si Justice. Layo.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Justice.
Yeah.
Baka may masabi si Ronald. Off ko na lahat to. Usually the worst things are said when yung akala ni Sir Ronald is ano. Thank you so much, Justice Carpio.